Tonight, the crimes of a police officer. At the sentencing of David Carrick, shocking details of how the former Met officer used his position of power to attack women. Also on the programme, a head teacher and her family are found dead in the grounds of a prestigious school, leaving pupils and parents shocked.
Stunned, I think everyone is. I took my kids to school this morning, spoke to a couple of the teachers. They're obviously very shocked.
Plus, we're on the picket line with striking nurses. Why are London's hit the hardest? Tottenham fans tell us what they think of their new record goal scorer and... the stars taking home the awards from music's biggest night. Good evening. He used his power as a Metropolitan Police officer to carry out a catalogue of sex attacks on a dozen women. The sentencing hearing of David Carrick was today told he used his work-issue gun, police baton and handcuffs to intimidate his victims. One of them said they felt they had encountered evil. Carrick previously pleaded guilty to 49 charges, including 24 counts of rape over 18 years. Rags Martel has been in court and his report includes some of the shocking details of Carrick's crimes.
One of Britain's worst sex offenders was a police officer. Using his power and control, David Carrick carried out multiple violent and brutal rapes on women. The 48-year-old former constable arrived at Southwark Crown Court after admitting attacks on 12 victims over 17 years. All the while, he was a serving Met police officer.
Oh, please, rapists!
Outside, a protest from women against rape. Inside the courtroom, the list of Carrick's crimes so long, the hearing will take at least 2 days.
Dressed in a dark suit and wearing a tie, David Carrick spoke only to confirm his name. Then the multiple charges of rape were read out in court. He looked straight ahead, eyes down, showing no emotion.
The court heard details of how he abused his police power to gain trust, telling women he was the safest person to be with. One victim's ordeal was described by the prosecution lawyer. When she asked to leave his home, Carrick put a gun to her head and said, "You are not going." He then put his hands around her throat and said he was going to be the last thing she saw alive. Another victim said Carrick would use police-issue handcuffs to cuff her hands behind her back and then rape her. The then PC Carrick also humiliated his victims, locking a woman in this understairs cupboard at his home in Hertfordshire. This afternoon, statements from his victims were read out in court.
My eyes are full of tears. All I want to do is cry my eyes out. This will stay with me for the rest of my life, and I don't trust anyone anymore.
That night, I felt like I had encountered evil. I honestly thought he was going to kill me that night.
I don't trust the police anymore. If anything went wrong, I don't know whether I would want to call the police, as I'd worry that they would send a male officer like him.
Scotland Yard have already apologised about Carrick's conduct, despite the Met being warned about his behaviour 9 times before his eventual arrest. Carrick's lawyer said simply the former police officer fully accepts what he's done. He'll be sentenced tomorrow.
Worth underlining, sentencing for crimes normally take a few hours, but David Carrick's list of rapes and assaults was so long it took all morning and afternoon just to get to the end of them. He's likely to be given a life sentence tomorrow, but the real tragedy here is that this isn't an isolated case. One only has to look at the rape and murder of Sarah Everard at the hands of PC Wayne Couzens just 2 years ago. So it's not just David Carrick who's in court here right now. It's the reputation of the Metropolitan Police.
Rags at Southwark Crown Court, thank you. For teachers, parents and pupils at 2 schools, there have been painful and uncomfortable conversations today after the deaths of a head teacher and her family. Emma Patterson, her husband and 7-year-old daughter were found in the grounds of a prestigious private school in Surrey yesterday. She'd previously been head of Croydon High School. Divya Kohli's outside Epsom College for us tonight. Divya.
Well, tonight, Duncan, this is a community still very much in shock. Epsom College says today they have been paying their respects to their wonderful head teacher. Surrey police have not yet revealed the cause of these deaths, but they say they are confident a third party was not involved. Emma Patterson, the first female head of Epsom College, had only been in the top job for 5 months. Yesterday morning, she, her husband George and their 7-year-old daughter Letty were found in a property in the grounds of the school by ambulance crews. Today, the college flag flew at half-mast whilst police came to and from the scene for much of the day. The story of such devastating circumstances within a prestigious private school shocked those who live close by.
It's really shocking, because we have friends, kids who go to the school, our neighbours' kids go to the school, so they're absolutely distraught.
It's awful, it's shocking, you know, something terrible's happened, so it's just awful. Thoughts are with everybody in the neighbourhood and the school and the family involved.
In December last year, Emma had spoken on a school podcast about the changes her family had faced with the move to Epsom for her new job.
And it has been a really big change for my family. So we've obviously moved house, we've bought a dog, I've got a new job, my husband has got a new job, which wasn't meant to happen, but did, and my daughter has started a new school, so there's been a lot of change for us.
The popular and much-loved Mrs Patterson was previously head teacher at Croydon High School. Parents of the children she inspired there were saddened to hear the news.
Just stunned, I think everyone is. I took my kids to school this morning, spoke to a couple of the teachers. They're obviously very shocked. They've got counselling in place.
Tom's daughter went to school with Letty before they moved to Epsom. He says he doesn't know how to break the news to his 7-year-old.
Emma was a great mum. She obviously instilled these values in her daughter, and my daughter was good friends with Letty, and Letty was so kind, you know, in after school club. My daughter's slightly younger than her, so you know she'd hold hands with her and they'd create pictures together and things like that. So yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Croydon High School paid tribute today, saying Emma was a much-loved and respected member of the school's trust community, as well as a talented head and teacher and a dear friend to many of us. She touched the lives of all of us with her energy, wisdom and kindness during her 6 years as head of Croydon High School, and the school will always bear the legacy of her inspiring leadership. It's a legacy Emma's colleagues will hope lives on. The events of the past 24 hours will likely have a lasting impact on staff and students for many weeks and months to come. Well, the local MP, Chris Grayling, has described the deaths as an appalling tragedy. And the parents of the children Emma Patterson taught at Croydon High School say that she was brilliant, that she was full of energy, and she knew each student by name, which tells you everything you need to know about her and the person she was.
Divya, thank you. London nurses joined national strike action today, saying they're feeling the pressure more than ever. There are 11,000 nursing vacancies in the capital, which is a quarter of those across the country. Helen Keenan joined a picket line outside University College Hospital.
Their smiles are normally used to keep up the spirits of their patients. Today, it's needed for their colleagues. Nurses striking for 12 hours, the length of their typical day shift.
I think it's finally our time to speak up, not just for us, but for the whole of the NHS.
You all seem to be nodding in agreement.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Not fair.
You've worked in the NHS for how many years?
Coming up to 38 years now.
Wow. What would you say the state of the NHS is at the moment?
I've seen it in all that time.
This marks the start of a series of NHS strikes this week. It's thought it could be the biggest industrial action in the history of the health service.
Victoria is just starting her nursing career.
If you'd known it would have come to this and to strikes, do you think it might have put you off a bit?
It's definitely something that I would have to consider, because it's you know, knowing that you're going to qualify and not be paid fairly is really tough. We're already seeing that student nurses are way down. The number of NHS nursing vacancies are at an all-time high.
In London, there are 11,000 nursing vacancies, the highest number in the country.
Nursing staff are actively considering leaving London because of the cost of living pressures, because of the pressure on them to pay higher transport costs, higher rental costs than there are across the rest of the country.
It's a nice environment for someone coming in.
Today, the Health Secretary visited Kingston Hospital and was showing no sign of budging on pay.
I don't think it's right to go back to last year, to last April, retrospectively. We should be looking forward to the pay review body that is taking evidence now.
The lack of resolution is also impacting patients. His spinal operation postponed because of strikes. Mick Scarlett can't leave his home in Camden.
Until I had my surgery, I really just can't do it because the pain is so much. And so this isn't, you know, like this is a surgery that means I either have my life back or I don't.
With more industrial action this week, the disruption isn't going to quieten down.
Yeah, it's just going to keep going, isn't it, Helen?
That's absolutely right. There were 7 pickets outside London Hospital Trust today, and we're going to see the same again tomorrow. Now, the nurses that we spoke to today, they were telling us, well, they're simply broken, they're exhausted, and the service is on its knees. So the Royal College of Nursing is staging these 2 days of action, and the General Secretary, Pat Cullen, was outside St Mary's Hospital, actually in Paddington today, and she accused the government of punishing nurses by not getting round the negotiating table. And that's after they insisted there would be no re-examination of NHS pay for this year.
OK, Helen, thank you. Next tonight, despite many feeling helpless, London's Turkish and Syrian communities are doing whatever they can as the full extent of a devastating earthquake unfolds thousands of miles away. Already, more than 2,000 people have died and many more injured during the quake and its aftershocks. Daniel Henry's been to see how people here are rallying together.
Imagine waking up to this. Some people never got the chance. The aftershocks stretched from Turkey to Syria, but the impact didn't stop there.
One of our friends, and she's got relatives in Hatay, and one of the borough in Hatay, and her relatives were her auntie's husband and cousin under the building.
For those in the capital with friends and family in crisis, the pain behind these pictures is personal.
And she said there's no team and equipment in Kırıkhan district. People are on their own. There's still no news from our loved ones who are trapped under the trouble.
This community centre has supported Turkish people in London for decades.
Is that the Turkish Kurdish communities in North London are very well networked. I have heard that they are due to meet today, so there will be a joint support humanitarian campaign.
They've seen disasters before, but nothing quite like this.
For you personally, seeing these pictures, getting these messages from people back home, people who are here trying to contact people back home, how are you dealing with it?
Thank you for asking. I am, just like most members of the Turkish Kurdish communities, migrant communities, have been living in this country for 20, 30 years at least. So, as I said, that helplessness is there, but wanting to be of support is also there. It's a catastrophe that leaves me in sadness, just like everybody else, I'm sure, that is hearing, seeing, witnessing and living this.
Tyan says London's community groups will take on this tragedy together. Distance makes no difference to the sense of loss, shock and sadness felt in this corner of the city. In fact, it makes these people even more determined to help. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme.
Get up here, best friend, Adele.
London's big night out at the Grammys, plus...
You've probably got some of these on your windowsill, but here at Kew they've got thousands for their festival, and I've got some top tips to keep them punching above their weight.
But first, he's one of our own. That's what Tottenham fans sing about Harry Kane, but last night he made a record of his own.
Stepping in.
With this goal against champions Manchester City, Kane took his Tottenham goal tally to 267, making him the club's most prolific ever goal scorer. The record had stood for more than 50 years, with its last holder being Spurs and England legend Jimmy Greaves. We asked some fans what they made of their man's achievement.
Oh, over the moon, like every Spurs supporter. He's a Tottenham lad, born and bred. And he represents everything that this club means to all of us.
200 and, if I remember rightly now, 267, isn't it? So you try and pick one of them out of 267, you can't do it.
I think he's a legend of Tottenham, and he's getting, how can I say, he's getting really better.
What's your reaction to Harry Kane becoming the club's all-time highest goal scorer?
Oh, we're so proud of him. It's amazing, to be honest, for what he's done and even done for the club. So yeah, and he's definitely like a role model for like all the young kids coming up as well. So yeah, definitely we're all proud of him.
There are so many magic moments on the pitch to choose from, and we have compiled Kane's best bits. Head to itv.com/London to have a look. Now, from one Tottenham legend to another, it was a big night at the Grammys, with Adele scooping up more prizes at the glittering ceremony in Los Angeles, and a big night for Sam Smith and the LGBT+ community and representation. They won Best Duo with Kim Petras, who made history as the first transgender musician to win a Grammy. Anna Geary has more.
Get up here, best friend, Adele.
The 16th Grammy for Tottenham's Adele. This time for Best Pop Solo Performance for her single, Easy on Me.
I really was just looking forward to coming tonight. I just want to dedicate this to my son, Angelo. Oh, God, Rich, he said, don't cry. If you win anything tonight, don't cry. And here I am crying.
Sam Smith, who took home their first Grammy since 2015, picked up a gong for their duet with German singer Kim Petras, Unholy. The win was a history maker, as Petras is the first transgender woman to win a Grammy. Smith declined a speech, letting Petras take centre stage.
Sam graciously wanted me to accept this award because I'm the first transgender woman to win this award.
LGBTQ+ representation was a theme of the night, with Beyoncé paying tribute to the community during her acceptance speech after winning Best Dance Album.
I'd like to thank the queer community for your love and for inventing this genre. God bless you.
And we don't have to wait until the biggest stars in music return to the capital, with the Brit Awards coming to the O2 Arena on Saturday. Anna Geary, ITV News.
Now, my guest tonight is well known for her moves on Strictly Come Dancing, but Joanne Clifton is also an actress well used to the stage. She's now starring in a play opening at the Southwark Playhouse. Much more of that in a moment, but first, here's Joanne on the dance floor. It was worth waiting for. You did him proud, didn't you, Joanne? All right, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. Can you believe that was 2016? So many years ago. By the way, my boyfriend's going to be fuming that you showed that about Harry Kane because he was a Man City fan.
Oh, well, sorry.
I know.
London, what can we do? You know? All right, on to present projects then.
Yes.
The new play, it's called Windfall.
Yes.
And it's about, is it a group of office workers slugging it out for a $500 million ticket?
It is exactly that. Now, how can I describe this? It's basically hilarious chaos.
Okay.
Like, yeah, Act 2, I can't say too much without giving away the plot, but it's basically how far would people go in order to win that lottery.
Oh, OK.
So, yeah, it gets messy.
So they haven't got the ticket yet, or what is it, they've entered into a syndicate or something?
They've entered. There is a ticket, but we don't know where it is.
Oh, OK, so then is there all sorts of skullduggery?
Yes, it can get quite violent. Can get quite violent.
Really?
Yes, but in a funny way.
In a funny way.
It's a comedy.
It's got to be funny, hasn't it? Because the director is the same one who did The Play That Goes Wrong, which I saw a few years ago, and that is hysterical chaos. I can put it like that.
Yeah, Mark Bell, he's incredible. Like I do musicals. I was a dancer, as you said, and I do musicals. And I thought, this is my first play, and I thought, oh, we won't have to do all the big dance numbers and the songs and stuff like that. It's going to be a chilled process because it's just, you know, it's a play, it's only acting. Yeah. Oh, no. Mark Bell goes so deep into the characters and stuff and gets us to do all these exercises like improvisations and states of tension and stuff. And I come home, I'm absolutely exhausted.
So you came into this for a rest, and actually it's harder work.
Yeah.
But that's the thing I remember about The Play That Goes Wrong. It was quite almost balletic in the way that it was choreographed and with precision timing. Yeah. So does your training as a dancer help you in something like this?
I guess, yeah, in Act 2 with the bits of violence that happen and stuff, I have to be in the right place at the right time. So I have to be quite coordinated about moving out of the way of stuff and things like that, yeah.
And you've got an American accent.
Yes, I'm going from Grimbarian to American.
OK.
But actually, one of the cast, we've got an incredible cast, by the way, and one of them, Audrey, who plays Hannah, she is giving us notes all the time because she is American.
OK.
So she corrects us all the time.
You can't get anything past her.
No, and we get voice notes and stuff in the evening to tell us what we need to work on.
Speaking of roles, a big one, you're an auntie now, aren't you? Because your brother Kevin and, of course, Stacey have had their little one.
Yes.
What's it like?
She's beautiful. She's so beautiful. And I think, well, they're saying that she looks like their Auntie Joanne.
Oh, really?
Yes. There's a WhatsApp group, a family WhatsApp group, and we all think that she looks like me when I was a baby.
Well, listen, the play sounds really interesting. It's Windfall. It's going until the 11th of March in Southwark. Joanne, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, untrustworthy colleagues. Oh, Sally's here to talk about the weather. Sorry, I had to do it.
Duncan, we'll have words later, but that was actually quite smooth.
Thanks very much.
I'll enjoy the joke. I'm just looking at Joanne sitting so elegantly. I feel like such a scrubber. This is how I turned up to my story today. Take a look at this. I walked into a greenhouse and guess what happened? Anyone who wears specs, look at that. How do you look more glamorous, Joanne?
Making a steamy movie.
In my life. Anyway, that was at, where was it? Oh, yeah, Kew Gardens, because they've got their Orchid Festival. 27th year, if it ain't broke.
Right.
Yeah, it's obviously doing very well. So they've got all their beautiful orchids out. They've obviously brought lots of them in. They are so stunning. Do you have orchids?
No, I kill them.
Well, watch and listen,
Here
because
we
have I
go.
got some top tips for you. Let's take a little look.
You could call all this Beauty and the Beast, except they too look absolutely stunning. There are orchids all over London, but my suspicion is that many of them are withering on a windowsill, but not so here at Kew. And the animal theme is because for the first time, their Orchid Festival has been inspired by an African nation, Cameroon.
Did you know that orchids are one of the largest families of flowering plants in the world? There are more than 25,000 species, but in Cameroon, some of them are so rare, they have to keep their location secret to protect them.
In the shops, we're used to seeing orchids in pots, but in the wild, many of them like to let it all hang out.
This beauty is a brilliant example of how orchids don't need to have their roots underground. In fact, 70% of all orchids grow on trees, but of course, if the tree is at risk of being cut down, so is the orchid. The orchid's been described as the canary in the coal mine when it comes to extinction and the climate around them. Can you just tell us a bit more about that, Selene?
They have a close relationship with fungi in order to thrive, and pollinators. So if any of these is at risk or disturbed, the orchid life would be threatened. And they are a good clue to whether an environment is thriving or being endangered.
If you're wondering what these things are, these are of course the giraffe's knobbly knees and its gorgeous tail, but I couldn't come and see all these orchids and not ask that key question. If you've got one on your windowsill, how do you not kill it?
Number one, don't overwater it. This is one of the main downfalls. Number two, they like a lot of light, but not direct sunlight. That could damage their leaves. So no facing window or behind a light curtain. And number three, they like to be pot bound, so you can wait before repotting them.
Sounds so easy, but they have managed to make thousands thrive here, each a perfect little piece of art, all of its own.
It's overwatering every single time.
Well, I heard a great tip that apparently, I cannot remember who told me this, but this woman put her tea leaves and the end of her tea in her orchids. I don't know if it was every day or once a week. That is crucial information, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Tips you can't use.
Yeah, sorry, you cannot use. But it was the tea leaves and a bit of that water that helped. Anyway, are there any shoots coming through in your garden? Anything appearing?
No, it's still looking a bit threadbare, but at least the sun is shining on it.
Well, that's true. You can't have everything. Mine's not looking good at all, but never mind. Here's the nice weather.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. I hope you had a good start to the week. Now, I love this photo spotted by Sue. Nearly Valentine's. Love is in the air, but look, the little ones not giving them too much space, are they? Little poppets. We love them, really. So over the next couple of days, some nice sunny spells. It's feeling a bit chillier, as you have probably noticed, and we have got some frost heading our way and freezing fog as well in some pockets as well. Let's take a little look at the pressure charts. They're quite settled for the next couple of days with high pressure around. As we reach Wednesday evening and Thursday, this front sinks south, bringing a bit more cloud and maybe turning a little bit breezier by the end of the week. But we are going to see the temperatures just come up a little bit, back to around average for the time of year. So as for tonight, with lots of clear skies outside, those temperatures plummeting, look at all that blue, a widespread frost heading our way again, and possibly some pockets of freezing fog around, which could well affect visibility overnight and into tomorrow morning during rush hour. Our temperatures very cold, down to freezing, if not below. In fact, in the countryside, we could get -3 to -5. So a really chilly start as Tuesday kicks off with that frost. And as I said, some of that fog possibly lingering, causing a few issues in a few areas. But it is going to disappear eventually, and you can see a nice day emerging. Plenty of sunshine, a little bit of cloud around here or there, and temperatures just a touch down, so highs of only 6 or 7 tomorrow, so it won't feel especially warm. The evening's very similar to this evening. Again, clear skies with those temperatures dropping and that frost forming, and again, maybe a little bit of fog. Now, Wednesday starts to see a bit more cloud, and more so as we head into Thursday, maybe even a spot of rain on Thursday. Breeze picking up a touch, but also the temperatures, and that is your full forecast for now.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Thank you, Sally. Do stay with us. Charlene is here next with the national and international news. But from me and all of the London team, thank you for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.